Welcome to another episode of Tuesday Stories. I am your host, J.R. Bjornson. This episode is also going to be simulcasted to YouTube because I originally covered this topic a few weeks ago on my channel, and I figure it would be awesome if we could actually continue the story, but introduce you, the listener, to the story. Now, as you may or may not know, just as the clock struck midnight on New Year's Day and 2026 began, I posted a Facebook status telling all my friends, hey, just so you know, I'm logging off for a year. Unless I get some sort of opportunity in stand-up comedy where I have to tell you about it, I am not going to be back for a while. The goal is to get off Facebook, Instagram, Threads for an entire year because I wanted to see if my life would improve or how my mental health would be better. And today is officially the 28th of January, which technically they say there's 4 weeks in a month. So it's safe to say that 4 weeks, in my opinion, is a month, and I've been off Facebook now for a month, even though it's not February yet. And did my mental health get better? Has my life improved? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to tell you that it's improved maybe a tiny bit, but it hasn't improved as, like, say you're working on meditation and you've reached enlightenment, My life personally has improved in the sense I'm not seeing as many political posts. I'm not seeing any stories about what's going on in America. I'm not seeing any stories of what's going on in Canada regarding politics and hatred. And just, Facebook was really, really bad because my feed in November, my feed was starting to be full of politics. My feed was starting to be full of these just like sad stories, car accidents, things that made it feel like I did not want to actually, leave my house. So has my life improved in the past 4 weeks that I have not been on Instagram, Threads, or Facebook? I would say it's improved a bit, yes, because I'm not looking at sadness anymore. I'm not looking at stress anymore. But one thing I have learned in the past 3 weeks is because I'm not on Facebook anymore, I am missing my friends who have unfortunately passed on to the next life. My friends who've passed away. I'm not getting the notifications if one of my friends is going through a tough time. I don't know what's going on. Thank goodness me and my wife have a similar circle of friends because my wife was able to keep me up to date whenever friends would come and go, whenever there was things going on that we could help. I would know about it. But that's it. I wouldn't know about, what's Ice Cube up to in America or, what weird thing Polyair and the current prime minister are talking about in Canada. Things like that. Like, I'm not following the drama anymore. And I know, right? Anyone can unfollow drama from Facebook, but your friends will still love to follow drama. So even if you unsubscribe from your drama on Facebook, you're still going to end up meeting a lot of your friends who are following the drama. So you can't outrun it. So by uninstalling Facebook, I feel like I've outran the drama. I'm still on TikTok and I'm still on YouTube. So it's not like I am completely away from it. Maybe the end goal here would be to eventually quit all social media in the future. But at this current time, I still need to use social media for my stand-up comedy. I still need to use social media to be aware of imminent danger, but also great deals from businesses, right? So I don't know if I'm going to go back to Facebook anytime soon, but if I didn't have my wife on her Facebook still, like if she joined me on this journey, I would not know what's going on in the world at all on Facebook's end of things. I wouldn't know which one of my friends is having a funeral or which one of my friends could be on the verge of becoming homeless. You know what I mean? Like there's some aspects of, yes, Facebook is bad for your mental health. Instagram is bad for your mental health. And I'm not just trashing Meta here. All social media to a degree is bad for you because we openly decide to log into our computers, our smartphones. We tend to be addicted to the drama, you know? We tend to be addicted to what's going on because some of us have a fear of missing out, or as they call, what do the cool kids call it? FOMO. Some people have the fear of missing out. And I will say, without being on Facebook, I am struggling with Tuesday stories. A lot of my inspiration for this podcast about my life came from Facebook and sharing memories from 10, 12, 20 years ago. You know what I mean? Because without Facebook, I really have to do a deep dive of my own life. When I launched Tuesday Stories with J.R. Bjarnson, it was going to be an autobiography of my life in podcast form. But I never thought by episode 21 I would be running low on content. You know what I mean? But I have a feeling I'm going to keep pushing this podcast because my goal is to come up with 52 episodes. And then we'll decide if Tuesday Stories is still going to be a thing or if we're going to revert back to the midday show with J.R. Bjarnson, which the midday show was more like what you're listening to right now with what I'm up to on social media, what I'm up to with plans. But Tuesday Stories is more like, here's JR. It's all about JR versus versus the midday show with JR is more like, here's what I find interesting going on in the world. It's not so much about me. It's more or less about what I find, interesting and what's going on. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Tuesday Stories with J.R. Bjarnson. I will check in with you real soon. Let me know what you think of the sound quality of today's episode. Today, we tried something new. I bought myself the DJI Mic 3, and I want to see if this mic can cut it as a podcast mic. And we're also recording our video format of the podcast using the DJI Action 6. I do move the resolution down, so it's a box format. I don't really do the 16:9 format for the podcasts because it's just me talking. So it's like, less pixels that way. All right, I'm going to get going. Remember to like and subscribe to Tuesday Stories with J.R. Bjarnson wherever you get your podcasts. I'll post the Google link and the Apple link in the YouTube video description. If you want to support the show for as little as $5 a month, you will have access to every single episode that has ever been made versus the way I publish these episodes publicly. Not every episode makes it to YouTube, and all episodes publicly do have a 90-day expiration date because that's just the podcast provider I chose to go with. I will talk to you guys real soon. Thank you for listening. Love it. Take care.